Okay, so I'm gonna quickly run over this section of yesterday's update. Enjoy. But for today, I'm really looking at this scenario. Ideally, like if you see, I'll show you in a sec. This 4-hour supply zone here. We have closed the 4-hour candle above. So in my opinion, um, we are breaking structure here. We have flipped this zone. Um, You've also got this high here that was taken out from that move, and now we're getting that retrace. So the ideal situation now is to be looking for longs. Um, if you draw on a fib in this latest move here from previous day low to previous day high, you can see the equilibrium around there. That's definitely an area of interest. It lines up with the previous day value area low. Um, but that would be a great area, of course. But I'm even more interested in, to be honest, catching this 4-hour demand zone here. That would be really sweet. Um, because essentially what we're looking at now is this is your swing range that you're playing with on the 15 minute. If you could get in below the zero point 0.5 into the 0.6 and get on that 4-hour demand, I think that's just going to be really nice. You've got a clear invalidation below these lows here. And technically these are strong lows now on the 15 minute. You're in a very much you're very much in an uptrend. So the trend is your friend in this case with longs. So I would not be looking for shorts right now. Um, yeah, just I'd be very, very careful on the short side. Unless you start seeing structure breaking like this, you know, that's only when I'd look to be shorting. You want to see. All right, that'll do. So just wound it back a little bit so we can go back over how it played out yesterday. Um, Now, obviously, I was talking about this 4-hour zone, why I was so interested in it. The key reason behind my interest here is obviously I talked about we had the 4-hour breakup here, we've had this 15-minute breaker structure right here. But the main idea is what I was talking about yesterday is the interplay between supply and demand. Okay, we know that we're clearly in an uptrend. Okay, that helps. That's one tick in the box for the bulls or demand. You've got this strong supply zone, right? Why is it strong? It led to a breaker structure. It was a significant area in the chart where price had broken down. Okay, it's significant and it's valid because we've had multiple taps and tests of it. I then believe we've broken out. Okay, we've broken that range. Okay, so these are now the lows, these are now the highs. So I clearly defined this as the top of our range and the bottom of our range. Okay, now this was the supply, and here was the origin at which demand had overwhelmed supply. Okay, it's really important to see and notice this. At least try and wrap your head around it a little bit. Is that this was the point at where demand had stepped in and overwhelmed previously strong supply. So that indicates an intention in the market. Okay, so when price returns to these levels, there's the assumption that they'll protect or they'll look to re-enter or fill up more of their orders or something like that. You can use whatever sort of idea you want, but the idea is that they left a footprint behind, and when price returns there, you would expect a reaction. Okay, you've then got the context of the market showing bullish signs, sign of strength. There you go. So this achieves something, okay? This level where demand had built up had overwhelmed supply and it had achieved something, which is a structural break and an area of previous supply had been overwhelmed, okay? That's why I found this level significant. That's why it deserved a cake. So, what happened? Let's run it forward. Now, at this point, I'm thinking, right, we're probably going to just go up, and this was the low of the day. I talked about not being really careful on shorts. I'll talk about why I was right and why I was wrong in a second. Um, it was it was a case of me understanding that these are weak highs and these are strong lows. So in this case, if we do get up here and we don't get a really good reaction, okay, then I'm not really interested in shorting this because my expectation is that you would be breaking these highs and probably continuing higher and finding new supply because demand is very much in control here. Okay. My idea was that we were obviously going to be coming up and testing these levels. Now, I was wrong about that, but I may become right soon, if that makes sense. So let's keep playing it forward. What happens? Play out the rest of the day, and then eventually we reach the level I was talking about. Let's play it forward a little bit more. Let's get rid of these. Okay, so we get this. We get this initial reaction here. So I did take a short scalp there. I had a quick and easy invalidation, and I did manage to get out of there for a quick profit. It was in the trade for less than 10 minutes or so. But the problem I had with this is that I was very much aware of that larger context, that we could just be seeing the next leg up in a very bullish market. You know, we've just been doing that. So I was very much aware that this could just keep going up. So I was hesitant to be aggressive on shorts here. What happens? You then take out the highs, and then you get the reaction. Now, this happened around the time Jerome Powell was talking, and it was the New York initial balance. So for me, this was a kind of like, well, it's too risky to start trading that or looking to be aggressive on shorts. Like, I don't really want to be playing their game. So my idea from then was that, right, I'll let the initial balance play out. Okay, you see it right there. Okay, so the initial balance is played out. That's the first arrow of New York. You've broken the low. You've closed in the latter half or the bottom half of the initial balance. So my bias is now, right, this was a great short opportunity, but I wasn't to know at the time. Now I've had the confirmation from the New York initial balance. It's much safer for me to look for this retrace up into these levels, and then I can look target short and maybe get to these lows here around London Open. That would have been the ideal situation for me on the day. But unfortunately, the velocity or the momentum of the move just continued, and it was just a case of I got really close. I was looking around here. I got really close there, but unfortunately, I just wasn't able to get tagged in. And you can see price eventually just came and took these lows. Take it forward one more. It just kept going and going. It was grinding around this level, and it was basically just bouncing off the VWAP on the way down. In hindsight, I should have really just grabbed a short of the VWAP, but I typically don't love VWAP trades too much because they can be very hit and miss. But yeah, I was looking for this level around this 15-minute block. That was my ideal place. And yeah, play it forward. What happened? Keep dropping. You then take those lows from London as expected. So I now have an alert go off. I'm very much interested in what happens next. I'm looking for this liquidity to be taken, and I'm looking for a reaction on the previous day value area low. Okay, what happens? You shoot straight through. Okay, this is why it's important to always wait for your reactions. Okay, so yeah, I could have had a limit set at this 4-hour block, which has a little 5-minute block inside, by the way, which I had marked out. You'll see in the videos. That was from another initial balance, a New York initial balance. I like trading back into those areas because this is where a lot of volume built up, because the most volume of the day is in New York. So you'll see when price comes back into a New York initial balance, it tends to find or present nice levels. Anyway, you then drop into the 5-minute order block inside the 4-hour demand zone. Okay. Oh, wrong one. Right. So we've had that reaction. So why didn't I jump straight in? Well, I didn't jump straight in because the risk to reward here for me wasn't really worth it. Because if I jump into this right here, my invalidation is pretty much all the way down there, and my next take profit or the place I'll be targeting is either these highs or this high here. So you can see it's a 1.6 risk to reward. I'm looking for at least a 2. Like, if the invalidation was literally that low, it could have been a nice 6. But I don't know that at this point. All I know is that I've had a reaction here, and there's always the potential that this just keeps going. Okay, and we fulfill that bearish idea that is obviously, of course, always on the cards. Not very probable at that point, because this is an area for longs, but it is possible. Like, I kept talking about this higher time frame context here. We're sat in this large supply zone. Okay, we're just sat in that. So the expectation is, As long as the 15-minute structure holds bullish, I would expect higher. But if that 15-minute breaks, the 4-hour could then take control again, and we could just see another leg down. Okay, so it's a little tricky to master or get your head around, and having like multiple things going on in your head at the same time. But it's very important. Just write it down, put it into your journal, put it somewhere, and just bear in mind the higher time frame context, because you need to be aware of them if you're going to trade these strategies. But yeah, we get that reaction. Clearly get a reaction. I then start paying real attention now. So I get the reaction there. I jump down to the lower time frames. I'm looking at the 5-minute in this case, right? Play it forward a little bit. Right, you can see start to get that little reaction back up. If we jump down to the 3-minute, this case looks a lot cleaner. So you can see we're starting to test these regions up here of demand of supply. You can see this was the last high that took out the previous low. So ideally, I'm looking at this. Ideally, I'm looking at a break above there. But as I'll show you in this case, I was a bit naughty, because essentially I'd had a bounce from an area where I was interested in, so I now have an easier invalidation. As before, I had a much wider invalidation. I had to look all the way down to these lows here. This time I've got a much easier invalidation, so any trade I take, my stop just has to be below there. So instead of a 1.6 return on investment or RR whatever, I've got a much higher RR chance, essentially. Okay, so I took this on the 5-minute, so you'll see if I take it down to the 5, let's get rid of that. Okay, so I'm in this scenario now. I've had a decent enough bounce. I haven't really broken any structure. I'll just take it forward on one a little bit. Okay, you then get that tap of the 4-hour region again. Okay, I was watching this on the 5. Let me see if I can find the candle. I believe that is the candle. So you've had the tap there, and then you start breaking back up. So you get that next reaction, okay? And then you've broken this candle high, and it looks cleaner on the 3. So it looks quite clean on the 3. But I still haven't broken that. Still haven't broken that, which I don't like, okay? But like I just said, what I do have is I now have a clear invalidation I can play with. If I was to just blindly long it in the first case, I could have just been wiped out. So what I did was, let's take this yellow line. See that 5 block there, right? So you see that candle where you've had the reaction, you've closed here, and then you've had a next candle that's essentially just created a little 5 block here. So our block has been created because the high of the first candle, let's just see if I can draw this. Let's say that's your candle there, and let's say your other candle is like this. Pretty much exactly like that. Right? So you've had a candle close. So there's your candle close. You've had it above the previous candle high. That is all you need to know that this has now become a block, or this is a demand or supply or demand zone. That's literally all you need. So if there's a bullish move out, if there's a bullish move, come here. It's not working. If there's a bullish move away from the candle and the next candle close is above the previous high, then you know that this is an area of interest. This is a demand zone or a supply zone. If it was the other way around, this is a block. Okay, so I just had a clear low time frame block created that bounced off this 4-hour zone. So what did I do? I set my limit at 438.2 essentially, just a little bit above, a tick above. What happened? Let's go on to the low time frames. Okay, I've had the reaction I like. I haven't really broken any structure. I don't like that, of course, but I've applied some experience, some discretion, and a little bit of strategic nuance into this, and this is just where experience will come into play. So essentially I've put in my limit there. and I've been able to say, right, there is my entry and there is my validation. Okay, what am I doing? I'm looking up really to the session high, the session VWAP, which is there. I'm looking up really to the VWAPs. Okay, so I've essentially got my 2R there, right? Now what happens? You then bounce back off the previous day value area low. Boom, and I'm in. I literally caught that wick. Quite literally. If I go to... Ooh. Where's it gone? Find it. There it is. I literally caught that wick right there. 4381.75. So I was a tick above that. So I quite literally caught that to the absolute tick. As you can see. Okay. Price then came up and it tested the middle point of the day. Okay. So it was just shy of the VWAP. Okay. And I was getting complaints from the girlfriend about having dinner. So what did I do? I just closed it. Okay. I'm more than happy to let go of trades. That's something I have gained with experience. It's something I believe is essential for success. You need to have such an emotional detachment from trading, and the fact I'm able to just have a trade that I know is a really good trade and just discard it like it's nothing is honestly a really good achievement in my own mind. It's something that's really I'm quite proud of at this point because in the past I would have just sat at my computer and had an argument with my girlfriend instead and made sure I played that trade out. But anyway, let's just keep that entry there. Let's keep that entry. And then what happened for the rest of the day? Let's go on to the 15-minute. Oh, where's it going? There it was. I've got my entry, 4381. What happens for the rest of the day? You make that move up to the VWAP as expected, but then you break through. So now you can see that obviously supply had stepped into the market. We've got a retrace, but what had happened? Let me just get rid of that. What had happened? It just retested an area of strong demand. I'm sorry this is taking a little while, this video. I'm well over my usual time, but I really want to explain these concepts and walk you through these ideas because I had so much confidence in this level. I was so attracted to this level for the reasons I've just talked about. And what happened? It showed a clear sign. Okay, play it forward. Look what happened. It then goes and tests the exact level I wanted to short earlier on in the session, and it would have given you a great short. And that happens at the close. So unfortunately, I wasn't trading that, but it's testament to these strategies effectively that they work. They're really good. So just play it forward to current day. Look at that. You got a great reaction, and then you open up today, and now we're in the London session. Literally just opened. Okay, so that was a trade breakdown of yesterday. I think, yeah, look at that. That's pretty cool. There's, like I just explained with the blocks, there is a block there. There is the next candle that closes above it. Closes above the previous high. There you go. That forms a block. What happens? Retest. Look at that. Perfect. I was going to take that as well, but I was doing this. Oh well. So, yeah. I will go on to another video and I'll talk about what's next and I'll make that short and snappy because this essentially is a trade breakdown. And yeah, it was a really nice one. The short and skinny version of what I think happens next is I think we just do this today, to be honest. I think we break these highs. Here was a clear break of structure. These were strong lows. This was an area of demand that had overwhelmed previous supply, came down, retested that unmitigated zone, and what happens? You've moved up since. I fully expect to end this week at these highs, unless you break below here. You start closing 15-minute candles below here. Okay, then I get very much interested in shorts again. Okay, that's it. It's sweet and simple. And yeah, I'll leave it there. I'll just do a quick update on what I expect next.